Welcome everyone to the Proven Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Church. I'm a music producer from Northeast Ohio. I began this weekly interview series to give you different perspectives from artists, producers, engineers, and other individuals in the music industry. In each episode, we touch on not only what has helped the person succeed, but we also touch on what has shaped them into the person that they are today. I hope you're able to gain some real proven knowledge from the show, and that it helps elevate you on your own journey to success as well. Let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 214 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today, I welcomed a fellow podcaster and an artist based out of Amsterdam. His name is Sani. I was actually on his show called Lost Boy Radio a couple months back. I discovered his platform through my good buddy D-Dot, who we've had on this show before. And it was great to get to sit down with Sani and kind of flip the script and have him be the guest today. He talked about what it's like living in Amsterdam, a city that has a lot of creativity and a lot of artists. He talked about the people he's met through living in Amsterdam after initially just moving there for schooling. He's from Nigeria originally. Gave a super cool story behind the brand of Lost Boy Radio, where the name came from and the whole concept. He also talked about his journey as an artist, starting in 2018 and then eventually really getting serious about it and getting a lot better around 2021 and what he's been doing since then. He has a lot of visualizers coming up, a lot more new music on the horizon that I'm excited for, and I'm just excited to see what he does moving forward with Lost Boy Radio and his whole brand and concept of that. And Sani just is a real cool guy, like in general, and you're going to hear that in this episode. So definitely go check out his music and the show after this one. And without further ado, let's get into it. All right, welcome everyone to episode 214 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Today we have a really incredible fellow podcaster. He's also an artist himself, currently residing in Amsterdam. Everybody, please welcome my friend Sani to the show. How you doing, man?
Sani, what's good, bro?
And
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad to kind of return the favor, because I was on Lost Boy Radio a few weeks back, and that was a great experience. So thank you again for having me on your show. And I'm happy to have you here today. And we kind of have the guest give some background, to start off. How did you get into music? How long have you been at it? For those that might not know you and what you do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My name is Sani. I'm from Edo State, Nigeria. Well, professionally, I've been doing music for, let's say 2.5 years professionally. I'm saying professionally because I dropped my first song in 2021. So, yeah, if we have to say professionally, that's when I started. But I've been recording since 2018. So technically, the journey started 2018. And, yeah, I remember recording my first song December 28th, 2018. I remember this because it's just one day to my birthday, so it feels like it's just gonna be there forever, like the day you made your first song. And it wasn't good. It wasn't a good song. I didn't like the song. We it was trash. I hate it so much. Like sometimes,
Yeah.
I don't know where the song is right now. It's somewhere, but I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was me and a friend of mine, a producer friend of mine. He was also like an amateur at the time. So we're just figuring it out, basically. And, it wasn't the best. And, yeah, I've been writing since 2018, just writing to some beats. I've been recording. I recorded a lot of songs before 2021, the official song came out. So, yeah, it's just kind of it's been nice. Like, I like the whole process. And 2021, I felt like I was ready. Mm-hmm. And then I got into music and the music business full time.
Yeah. That's great to hear, man. And I could tell just from, going to your Spotify, looking at the back catalog, that you have a good amount of singles and projects already out too. I like that though, because you're like, you don't want to even hear that first song. You know what I mean? It's out there somewhere maybe, but you're good on that. I like that. I always say you got to start somewhere too, and just get that one out of the way and then move on from there. But that's how many years is that then? That's 7 years, I think. 6 or 7 years now you've been at
2018
it.
till now.
Yeah. So
about 5.5 or something like that.
Yeah. And you said that 2021 was kind of like the official start for you, or what you would consider like you doing it professionally or as a career. So what do you think kind of
Yeah.
led you to looking at it in that lens? Was that really the year where you felt most comfortable in your writing and recording, or you just felt like you were ready to go and that what you've put out since then has been up to the standard that you're looking for?
Yeah. I think. Um, I kind of feel like I was ready, like from since whenever I said I was ready, like
Mm.
since I was ready to write a song, I feel like I was ready. But at the time, the thing about music is, I just used to write to some beats. That's one thing. But recording is a whole different thing. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, even if you have the best song, if you don't record it well, it would not come out well.
Mm.
So that's what I really got to understand when I started recording. I really started to realize that, like, I'm recording when I write it, it sounds so good in my head, but when I record it, it's not the way I thought it would be. Sometimes you kind of have to figure it. Like sometimes the song does not even come out. The way the song ends up, it's not the way it started. You just go as So that's when I started recording, I started to really learn that. That's when I realized, this might take a while. Like
Mm.
you can't just go in the studio and then boom, just have the song. So I just kept practicing. You get me? And I talked to other producers, other artists, and they literally tell me, bro, there's no like secret to it. You just have to practice. You just have to keep doing it until you get better. And I felt when I kept recording, I did feel like I was getting better at it. I started to understand my voice. I started to understand, I cannot hit all the notes.
Mm.
You just have to hit the one your voice can hit, but just make it good. And you know, 2021, why it had to be like that was the year I started. It was just, I guess it was just time. I mean, everything just felt like it's been leading up to that moment. Prior to that, I've been getting beats from YouTube. Some producers I know. Not a lot of producers were so eager to work with me because they know me, not an artist from nowhere. So, but 2021, I met a guy in Amsterdam here also, Yuri, and this is like one of the first times I actually got to sit with a like experienced producer,
Mm.
and the beats were quality, and I didn't have to go through much hassle for licensing and all of that because I could just talk to him, and it felt good. And then the very first song we made is called Play. It was just I just knew I was ready. I knew like, oh yeah, it was time
Mm.
because that song was so good, and when it came out, the reception it got to prove my point, and yeah, that's why it had to be like that.
Yeah.
I just knew when it was time, it was time. You just feel it.
Yeah. You feel that the timing is right when it
Yeah,
happens. So yeah, I love that, man, and it's great to have somebody there too. Because like you said, it was a lot different than working like with online people online, where it's like you might not
yeah,
know these people directly, but if you can go, work with that producer in person, it's a lot different. Where you can build that
yeah,
relationship and build the sound. And it sounds like that had a lot to do with that decision of being like, yeah, now I feel like I'm ready to kind of embrace this and do this as a full thing. So I definitely love that, man. And even just speaking about Amsterdam in general, I'm curious to know, what kind of led you to, moving there, first of all, and what do you think has been your experience as a creative there? Because I've actually heard that Amsterdam is an amazing place to visit or just to go as a creative because there's a lot that goes on there. So
yeah.
what is your experience there, and how long have you been there, and what's it like?
Yeah, I've been in Amsterdam. Well, I've been in the Netherlands because I wasn't living in Amsterdam when I first came for about let's say 3 years or
Mm.
3.5. And you're right. Amsterdam is fun.
Mm.
You get me? It is. Whatever you heard about it is true. It is very fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
There are a lot of creatives. Like that's one of the reasons I even decided to move to Amsterdam. Because when I moved to Netherlands, I moved here because I was trying to get a master's degree. That's actually why I got here. And then I did get the degree, but just decided to stay back because I kind of getting to like the country
Mm.
like as the day passes.
Yeah.
When I first came here, I was all, oh man, it's not home. It's just I don't know nothing. It's a different country, different continent. You don't know nothing. But the more I got to sleep, the more I got to realize, like, it's not so bad. It's just, if you could just learn some things in there, the language, the culture, not so bad. You get me? But, what's the question again? What's it like? There are a lot of creatives, yeah. It is, that's actually one of the reasons I wanted to move to Amsterdam, because when I first came, I was staying in a city called Amsterdam. It was a small city, but that's where my school was, so I had to stay there. But, just from talking to people, just knowing your way around, I got to realize that Amsterdam is like the pumping city in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So I started to make my research. I started to try to find a house there. And it is, when you just get to the train station, Amsterdam Central, there's something in the air, man. You can just feel it, and it's mainly, how I put it, there's so many international people in Amsterdam. You get me? It's like it's not just filled up with, there's Dutch people here, so predominantly everyone is going to be Dutch. But you see all sorts of people there, and all sorts of creative. I've met so many artists, so many dancers, so many people. Like, you just from the way they dress, you can just tell already. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's I'm not quite sure how deep to describe it, but there are a lot of creatives. If you're looking for something in entertainment, if you're looking for something along that line, in Netherlands, Amsterdam is most likely where you will find that.
Yeah.
And it was, because when I moved to Amsterdam, I met the producer in like 2 weeks or like a week of just being in Amsterdam. I already met the producer and we already were in the studio. So I just knew, like, that's what I had in mind, and I was going to Amsterdam. I want to go chase this music, and it didn't even take long.
Yeah. It's good that it grew on you too, because like you said, you were kind of hesitant at first because you were just there for school. But then, like, as you've been there more and more, and you've had more of the experience, now it kind of does feel more like home. It sounds like, in a lot of ways for you. So that's great, man. And I'm gonna have to add it to my list of places that I want to go one day, because I have heard a lot of, especially here in the States, like a lot of producers that I'm a fan of, or even artists, when they tour overseas, they always talk about like Amsterdam's one of the best stops that they always like go to. Even like outside of like the music scene, just like the culture in general, and just being able to experience the city is a huge thing. So yeah, man, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that, because you're the first person I've talked to that lives there. So I haven't talked to anybody yet, but thank you for sharing that experience with us. And I do want to get into some of the music here. You dropped an EP earlier this year. I believe it was called Her, the Prelude Part 2. So give us, some info on that. It was a couple tracks. What kind of led you to wanting to put those out when you did?
It did, when it didn't even start out supposed to be like an EP or something. It was just some random songs. Ha Prelude 2, that's the name of the project. I mean, when you hear Ha Prelude 2, you probably figure there's a Prelude 1.
Yeah.
You get me?
Part 1,
So so that one was, technically, my first song was 2021. My first official song, because it was on Spotify and everywhere. But the first like songs, like vocal recordings that I put out was on SoundCloud. And that's Ha was part of them. Ha, a Prelude, was also 2 tracks, 2 sort of like demo tracks. They were not really properly mixed and everything. It was just, I wanted to put out something, you get me? At the time, I've been recording so much, and I just wanted to, I remember a couple of friends kept telling me, nah, don't go the SoundCloud route, it's going to make you look. I'm like, yo, listen, what am I supposed to do? Just keep recording and listening to my song, just me. So, that's when I put the first one out. It's basically 2, let me just explain. I was going through some things at the time, like emotional stress, you get me? I had some issues with a girl, and at the time, I had just moved to the Netherlands, so, just the moving to a new country, the depression that comes with that, as coupled with, I had some things going with the girl that I was with at the time. It was just a very low point for me, and that was just what it was. But I was still recording. Sometimes I feel like it helped me, because I wrote so many songs during that time.
Yeah.
And then I met this new girl. I don't want to mention her name. And then I met this new girl, and when I did meet her, I'm not gonna lie, she took all my pains away. Like, it just felt like everything that I've been feeling, just as soon as I met her, it just left. And it kind of reminded me of who I was. And it just reminded me that, hey man, stop sucking it up there, just sitting down feeling low all day. Like, get your ass up and go do something. And then it gave me that motivation. So the first Ha prelude I dropped, if you could listen, is on SoundCloud. It's 2 songs. One is kind of like basically a love song, pouring my heart out. And then the second one is kind of still sort of a love song, but it's basically saying how, I am that guy. Because that's what it felt like when I met the second girl. So that was just the idea. And I felt like, maybe I could just put these 2 out as like a demo track just to give people a taste of what I can do. And that's where it started.
Yeah.
So fast forward now, I put out this song, 9 a.m. in Amsterdam. It was just supposed to be a single, 9 a.m. in Amsterdam. But there's something that I've come to learn in music is called recycling. I don't know if you heard of this guy, Gary V.
I've heard the name,
Vaynerchuk.
Yeah. Yep.
He preaches about content recycling, basically. Like you can make use, it's like someone putting out a song and then putting out a slow version and then a instrumental or something. It's like 5 different tracks, was the same content, same song. So I just feel like, 9 a.m. in Amsterdam was good. It was kind of a good song. I heard some reviews about it. And then I had another single that I was going to follow up. And I thought, how about I just put these 2 and sort of make this like a sort of like remembrance of her, the first one. Because only people who really knew me at that time would know that there's that. So I felt like, this is for those sets of people, the day ones, the ones that have been there, that saw the SoundCloud era. And I felt, how about I put these 2 songs in here and just re-release it as an EP. But it's, it's both love songs, so it just feels perfect, man.
Yeah.
And that's just it. That's how it came about.
Yeah, they almost complement one another in their own way, even though they were kind of 2 different experiences, and you kind of put them together. So yeah, that's awesome, man. And I like that about repurposing the content too, because that's definitely a good strategy. And I know a lot of people do that with songs, especially in the streaming era, because usually what it does is it will count the streams you've already amassed from that song as a single, and then it will carry it over to the new release. So if it's on the EP, you'll still have those streams from the single coming through, plus all the new stuff. So that's a great strategy, and it obviously works on like social media and stuff too. But I love what you said about kind of it was really just a form of therapy. And I think that's what music is at the end of the day, especially, as an artist, you're able to channel those emotions into the music, and to see it come out in that way is incredible. So I commend you for that, man, because I know that was probably a lot to deal with, and to be able to put it done, do it in a constructive way, and then it helps other people too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're able to do that. Man. So yeah.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was. If you saw me during that period, I lost so much weight. It was all over my face. Like, damn, I wasn't good. Even the girl that I was with, she knew. She was like, "Yo, Daniel, you losing weight, man. You don't look so." I'm like, "Yes, you're the cause of it," but it was just, Even she was impressed. Even my friends, because some of my friends, they knew what was going on, and they just liked how. Whatever is going on with me, and I tell this to everyone that I meet, whatever is going on with me, whatever is going on with us, you're going to hear it in the songs. Yeah. Like, I'm going to write about it for sure, because it's not even, that's what it is, that's what it's about. And yeah, sometimes music is therapy, especially my music, man. One day, sorry that I'm just rambling, but...
No, you're good.
Yeah, but one day I was in my house and I'm not sure what it was, but it was just one of those periods when you're just like low spirited, you're just not feeling good. And I was listening to some music and then my song came on like on shuffle because it was already on the playlist. And then, because I hadn't listened to the song in a while. And I'm like, yo, damn, I was like, yo, that was actually nice. I even forgot about the song. So I went to this playlist I made I've made a playlist of just all my songs, put them in one playlist. Mm-hmm. And then I just played it at random and I just let it play. And when I just kept hearing all the songs, I just felt so good inside, and I'm like, you did that. And then he hits me, and I felt myself getting in a better mood. I just felt happier. And he hits me like, yo, like my music is saving me, literally. Like it's literally here for me. Because I was alone in my room, and it felt like it was there with me. And I'm like, yo, like if you don't make music, you won't understand this feeling. And that's just something I'm grateful for the music. I'm like, yo, I'm so happy that at some point I found myself doing that, because it's like, it's such a beautiful feeling, man.
Yeah. Hey there, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick minute out to let you know about a couple different ways that you can support the podcast. One of the ways is by clicking that support the podcast button within your streaming platform. That is if you want to be a monthly supporter of the show. You can contribute either 99 cents, $5, or $10 a month. So that's the first way, and that's the more traditional way that we've had now for the last couple years. The other method that we actually just recently introduced is from our good friends over at Coffee. Coffee is a virtual tip jar. We have set our limit to a minimum of $10, but you can go make one-time, one-off donations. So if you visit coffee.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast, you'll be able to donate. And all these different forms of donation go towards getting new guests every single week, getting potential sponsors on board to do giveaways, and overall just making the show better for you guys. So if you want to do that Coffee link, it's ko-fi.com/the Proven Knowledge Podcast. Otherwise, again, look for that support the podcast button in your streaming platform if you'd like to be a monthly supporter. And I just want to say thank you guys for your contributions. And without further ado, let's get back into the episode. And I feel like every creative can relate to that in their own way too, because I think we've all kind of dealt with that at one time or another. And really just as like human beings in general, we have to ride the ups and downs of life. But then when you're creative, you have even more pressure on yourself because you feel like, is what I'm doing matter? Like, does it matter? Or is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? But then you have those moments like you just described where it's like, this is the only thing I have to be doing. This is the only thing I should be doing. It feels right. And it's like that awakening or the reawakening of that creative energy. So yeah, that's incredible, man. And thank you for sharing that as well, because that's a good reminder to always have for people.
Sure.
And it's easy to forget sometimes too, but it's good to have the reminder as well. So I do want to get into talking about your show, which was I was featured on, like I said, a few weeks back, Lost Boy Radio. Incredible show, by the way, and I'm a huge fan of the platform, and it's how we got connected initially, because you interviewed D. Dot, who is a good friend of mine, someone that's been on this show before as well. So how did that all come about for you, man? Like, how did you decide that you wanted to interview other creatives, artists, producers? Like, where did the idea come about?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts also. You get me? I remember the day I decided to start listening, because it wasn't even I didn't start from podcasts. I saw a clip of this artist on the Breakfast Club, Jadena. He's an artist, American based, Nigerian. It was just a funny clip. They were saying something about scamming and how Nigerians are good at scamming. It's not true, but he made a joke out of it, and it was just so funny. I just laughed, and I was like, you know what? I want to go check the full interview and see where this is from. And then I listened. That's when I checked on YouTube. That's the first time I ever watched a full interview with just an artist. At this time, I wasn't even doing music. At this time, because this was years ago, and it was so refreshing just hearing him talk, because they talk about real life experiences, real things they do. At the time, I was already playing with the idea of music in my head, so maybe that really helped, listening to an artist talk. And it was from then I started to listen to more interviews. You get me? I started to look for more artists, probably the ones I like. Sometimes I just listen to random people talk and realize, you learn so much. I feel like it's one thing to go online and try to make some research, but it's another thing when you can hear the person talk straight from the source. Like you can hear him say how he started producing and how he handled his publishing or something like that. And it just really, really, I loved it. And I felt like the way I was going also, because I started doing music, I started to meet people, I started to have my own experiences. I just felt like, I feel like if I share this, just someone could probably listen and also pick up a thing or two from that.
Mm.
And that was really where, and also I talk a lot. And that was really where I thought, you know what, I should start my own podcast.
Mm.
And I have this theory. I feel like everyone should have a podcast because everyone has something to say. I'm pretty sure you're going through things and someone you can share it and someone who is interested in something like that would listen and learn. And the idea of the podcast is just basically, to share what I've learned, share what other people have learned, just share it with whoever needs it. The name Lost Boy Radio. Do you want to hear the story behind Lost Boy Radio?
I would love to hear the story.
Okay. Anyway, there was this day I was in home. It's Nigeria, like years back. I can't remember when. I was at home, and I was the only one at home. My mom, my parents left, and I didn't know. So I was a little bit of a stubborn child, and that day I smoked some weed in the house. I didn't even. Yeah, you get me. It wasn't even. I felt like I just had some terrible luck that day. I just wanted to take like a quick puff and just, And then my mom came back. I didn't know she was coming back that soon. She's not supposed to, but I guess plans changed. And she came back and she could smell the weed in the house, and I knew instantly like, oh shit,
Busted.
This is gonna be a whole thing. And she left the house again. But I know when she's coming back. Plus, when my dad comes back from work, I'm just gonna be in so much trouble. So I called a friend of mine, his name is David, and I told him, hey, listen, man, I need to leave my house for a couple of weeks because it's probably hot right now. And, I asked him to just help me find like a cheap hotel where I could just stay, don't have to spend much. Luckily for me, I had some money with me at the time. So, we sorted that out. I just left the house. I texted my mom, like, listen, I know you're upset. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving the house. I'm not coming back for... And, she's still my mom. She still loves me. So she's worried, like, where you going? You can't just leave. Like, she kept calling me and calling, but I didn't want to answer the phone. Like, it hurt me so much because she kept calling me. And then she ended up texting me, like, okay, well, please just take care of yourself. Remember, I'm still your mom. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh. But, I still went that same day because the friend I called, because I had to go meet with him. He has a day job, you get me, and he was on the job at the time. He's a marketer. And basically, the company had like a campaign that same day. They had to go out to the highway, like a really busy highway. There was a whole billboard, they were doing a whole lot of things. And I just happened to be with him, so I was just along for the experience. And, I was just sitting there. The car was parked beside the highway, and I was just watching them do their thing. It's just me standing in this big ass highway, and I was just like, I just felt lost because I knew because I literally ran away from home, and I just felt like, bro, what are you doing? Like, where are you going? And at the point, I did not know where I was going. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm in here running from smoking weed. Like, I just felt so defeated, and I felt lost, and that's where that name came, Lost Boy.
Yeah.
That's really, really how it began. And then the podcast, like I said, as I went on, started listening to podcasts, I decided to make a podcast. So I just thought, you know what, how about Lost Boy Radio? So that way you can share experiences. And hopefully someone who is just like me, sitting there lost, can hear something and maybe it helps you find your way.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do with the podcast.
That's a real story connected to the brand, man. And I think that's like the best thing you can do is have a real, it's like the why moment of like, why are you the way you are? Why do you believe in what you believe in? For you, that's what it is. And that's the journey you've set out on with the show. And I think that's, that shows in the interviews and in the way you run the platform. And it just shows your character as well as a person. And man, I really believe in what you said earlier too about the power of conversation, because I feel the exact same way, and that's part of why I wanted to do my own show, was that I got so much more from hearing those conversations with my favorite artists as opposed to just hearing their music, because obviously you enjoy the music, but if you're trying to do a career in music or do something as a creative, you get a lot more through hearing, their experiences, what they've been through as well. So yeah, I mean, like I said, man, hats off to you. And that's a great story too. I know you had a song called Lost Boy too. So I thought it was initially from the song is where the name came
Yeah.
from, but
No.
a lot deeper than that, man. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, and I can share this with you. The song you're talking about is also a project. It's not a project per se. It's like an EP, but it's 2 tracks.
Okay.
But you can find both of them: Lost Boy, Prelude 1, and Prelude 2. My idea of Lost Boy, at some point, I want to put out an album called Lost Boy, and I feel like that's the album that is where I'm going to tell my truth, basically. That's, I'm making songs here and there, love songs, dance songs and stuff. But that one, and it's not going to come out until whenever I feel like I'm ready.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel like it's time. But I want to be as vulnerable as I can. I want to almost preach, you get me?
Mm.
And, so those songs, and it's probably going to be rap, because I feel like if you really want to tell your story, you cannot sing it. Like, you have to, word it out. Like, that's just how I feel, you get me? And so the songs you saw, Lost Boy, Period 1 and 2, it's kind of like a hint as to what that will be. I know it sounds crazy, because it's not like I'm such a big artist and I don't know what no one probably cares about all of this. But I'm strategically doing it because I feel like when it's all said and done, you would see it, you see the progression, and you would really know that, damn, this guy's been taking us throughout this whole journey, like, right in our faces.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to go check those out, man, and I'll be on the lookout for whenever that comes too. So that's definitely an exciting concept, man. What do you think is like something you're looking to do before the end of the year too? Because we're technically almost halfway through the year. Like, what are your goals for the rest of 2024, man?
Yeah. This year, well, my goal this year was I wanted to make a lot of visuals. You get me? Because like you said, I have quite a number of songs. But right now, to go into visuals, I'm gonna try to shoot more videos, put myself out there. Tell stories on my Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. And so far, so good. It seems like I'm making progress. I have some visuals out, and I'm currently talking to a friend of mine. Kingsway is also the guy who makes the videos, and we have something planned for about 2 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks, and that's what I want to do, man. I also want to reach out. I want to talk to a lot of people too. I want to meet new artists, maybe not just artists, like people in the media, like podcasters and radio guys. I had a radio show a couple of days ago. It was so good. That was my first time, and it was, I want to do more things like that to just kind of get more listeners, put more attention to myself, and just grow as an artist, man.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else but this is just kind of what I would like to achieve this year.
Yeah, a lot of exciting opportunities, a lot of cool stuff. So that's great, man. And do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Man, I feel like I have so many. But you know what? I'm going to do it with a story. I told you I talk a lot. I'm so sorry, man.
No, you're good. You're all good.
But anyway, there was this day I wanted to cut my hair. Because when I first came to Amsterdam, it was hard to find a good barber. You know what it is like when you change barbers? So, I cut my hair with different people, but none was just the way I wanted it. But I was just, And then there was this particular day, I saw this video on Instagram of a guy, basically, he's a barber, and he teaches you how to self-cut yourself with the mirrors and all of that. So, I want, let me try. Initially, I bought a clipper. And it was I just wanted to use trim, maybe reduce the beard, just get a little clean up, not like the whole cut.
Yeah.
But one day, I decided, let me just try. You get me? And I took the clipper and I was cutting my hair. It was trash. Like, there was so many patches. Like, it was trash. I had to put on a beanie for the next 2 weeks. And, and I just, in my head, I'm like, nah, you just go to the barber. It's the same thing, you get me? But the next time, when the hair grew up again, something in me felt like, nah, try again. Because it's hard to do, because I have to go like this few weeks with my hair looking crazy, and I had to really manage that. And I'm like, nah, you want to risk this and do this all over again?
Yeah.
But I just said try, and then I tried, and it was still trash. But what I noticed was the mistakes that I made the first time, I wasn't making those same mistakes. I kind of knew not to do some things now, and I was making fresh mistakes. And I felt, and I saw that it was trash, but it was better than the first time. And that's when I knew, like, yo, I want to do this. Next time, when my hair was grown, I took it and I cut it myself, and it was literally perfect. I'm saying this because if I did not just try, I wouldn't know. From that time, this is like 2 years ago, from that time till now, I've been cutting my hair myself. I've never gone to the barbers. Everything I do is myself. I wasn't born like with a skill set of cutting hair or something. I just picked up a clip and I just tried it, and here I am. The reason I'm saying this is because whatever it is, and this will be the words of wisdom to anyone listening, whatever it is you feel in your heart, whatever it is you think could be something, if you don't try, you won't know. You might be extremely good at it, you might be trash at it, but if you don't just try, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if this is the key, if this is what you've been waiting for. You wouldn't know if you don't try. So please, if you're listening, whatever's in your mind, just go for it. Just try.
Yeah.
That's it.
And even on top of that, staying persistent, because if you had just given up after that first try, then you would have never got better. So that's an even bigger thing. So yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, man, Sani, I gotta say again, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for even getting in touch with me in the first place, man, and keep doing your thing. I'll be on the lookout for all the new episodes of your show, the new music, everything you got coming up, man, and stay doing you, man, because what you're doing is incredible, and I commend you for your work, dude. So thank you again.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And kind of have to give you your flowers also. I think you're also dope at what you do. You're also, like you said, you're consistent. I don't think there's any day I go on Instagram and it's not something from Anthony Church, and it's like, it's dope. It's it's just this what it's about, man. You just have to keep going, and you just keep going and keep going. So yeah, shout out to you too. I appreciate that we crossed paths, and I hope we do more great things.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 214. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.